Half Shelf Will Travel. Like I said before, we do a lot of parties and get-togethers at my place, so I'm going to show you how to do a couple of mushroom appetizers that'll even make people who don't like mushrooms like mushrooms. Crank your oven up to 350, that's your first step. What we've got here is a portobello. This is a large portobello. We're going to go ahead and use a spoon, de-stem it, and then take all these gills out of the bottom. The gills are edible, but they are not enjoyable. They're really bitter, and all told, you're just better off without them. So just use a spoon, scrape these out best as you can, dump them out. And like I said, get as many of them as you can. Take your time. The more you get out, the better this goes. And that is for the compost heap. Our next step is to put these on a sheet pan. I've got 2 portobellos here that we're going to do today. For sure, if you're going to do these for a larger party, you're going to want to do 6 or 7 of these. And we're going to give them a good bit of salt, like so. That's going to help draw some of the moisture out of them. And then we'll pop them into that 350 degree preheated oven for about 15 minutes or so. And when they come out, you'll see that they have got a lot of water. A lot of water. Just dump that out, clean your pan up, and we'll move on to the next step. We're going to make a really quick marinara, and we're just going to use some fire roasted tomatoes, put that right into the old smoothie blender, and then I'm going to add 5 or 6 or maybe 10 large cloves of garlic, and I'm going to blitz that until it's all blended. In the meantime, back at our cutting board, I'm going to use 1 stem of fresh basil, 3 or 4 stems of fresh oregano, and just a pinch of fresh parsley. We're going to cut these by hand because the blender can bruise them. It's not sharp and they'll turn black in your sauce. Not something you really want. Also, we're going to take half of a shallot and give that a good fine mincing, like so. And once you've got that minced, you can take everything to a mixing bowl and start adding it together. Now, if you notice when I pour this sauce out, you don't see any big chunks of garlic, and that's good. You want that garlic to be blended in there really fine. In goes our minced shallot and all of those wonderful herbs. Now, a lot of marinara recipes will tell you to add sugar, but if you just go a little heavier on the basil than you do the other herbs, that will take the bitterness out of the tomato without adding sweetness. So more basil means no sugar. Once we've got this mixed together really well, we can head on back to the sheet pan. We'll take our portobello mushroom, give it a good spoonful of marinara, tuck it in underneath that edge there, like so. And then we'll come in with some pepperoni. I'm using a turkey pepperoni because it's a little healthier for you. And when it comes to pepperoni, you're not going to notice the difference between turkey pepperoni and not turkey pepperoni, because pepperoni gets all its flavor from the spices, not from the meat. A little Parmesan and a whole lot of mozzarella. We're going to fill this as well as we can. Try not to split the mushroom too bad. And then it's going to go back into that 350 degree oven for another 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes until the cheese is melty and brown and it looks like so. Nice and roasted. Just a couple of toothpicks here. And then use a really good sharp knife for this next part. We're going to cut this into quarters like so. And you want a sharp knife to make sure you get through that pepperoni without sliding the toppings off of the mushroom. That would be counterintuitive to what we're trying to do. Next, you can arrange these on whatever serving tray, platter, plate you're using. And then we can garnish a little bit. I'm going to use just a little hand-torn basil here. A little extra on top, just to add a little extra color, a little green color. And we're all ready to serve. Hold on, I just remembered. We had that extra marinara. We didn't use all of it, so That'll look pretty on the plate. And now we're ready to serve. This is a great appetizer or hors d'oeuvre, fits both roles and it goes fast. So let's start thinking about another mushroom. So now we're going to use some white button mushrooms. Give these a good cleaning, just some cold water. A lot of that dirt isn't dirt, it can be manure. They grow in manure. They also grow in a fungus mulch that they use with these stems that you take off like so. And again, we're just going to destem these. The gills on these, not so bad. We don't have to worry about cleaning those out too much. We're going to roast those just like we did the big portobellos. You can see how much water is in these. Water is a flavor killer. It dilutes flavor. And then we're going to give these a quick stuffing with some Italian sausage. Italian style sausage. And we're going to use the stuff that we made in the previous video, like we always do. So give these a good stuffing like so. And then these are going to go back into a 350 degree oven for another 15-20 minutes or so, just until your sausage is done. And once they come out of the oven, all brown and toasty, go ahead and arrange those on your serving tray, plate, platter, what have you. Be careful because these mushrooms can separate from the meatball pretty easily, as you can see right there at the bobble. And then once you get them on the plate, work really fast while they're still hot. Give them a good grate of fresh Parmesan and maybe a little sprig of parsley just for some color. Now, most people don't like mushrooms strictly because of the texture, but I find that when you make a pizza out of it or you stuff it with a meatball, they tend not to notice that texture nearly as much, and they go by pretty fast. So there you have it, 2 quick ways to turn mushrooms into tasty appetizers or hors d'oeuvres. Have fun with that. And as usual, like, subscribe, share, hit us up on these other platforms, and we'll see you again really soon.